I think in 3.5 years of being a parent, this is the one thing I have never gotten used to, and it still takes me by surprise every single time. This week, I want to talk about going on holidays when you have kids. And also, I want to complain a lot, mainly because I have had the worst stomach bug for the last 3 days. And yeah, I'm just in a bad mood because of that. so, um, First of all, I want to say that I do acknowledge that I'm incredibly lucky that I get to go on holiday at all. I know it's really a massive privilege, but bloody hell, it can be hard work. So at the moment, we are in Cape Town, South Africa, and we're here for 5 weeks. And the background to that is my mum grew up in South Africa, and a lot of my family still live out here, and my parents own a house here. So because they very generously let us stay in their house, we were able to come out for a long time. And it also ties in with Jack's second period of paternity leave. So it worked out really well. I just wanted to explain that so you don't think we are the type of family that go on 4 week exotic holidays all the time. Our usual type of holiday would be a week in a resort somewhere like Spain or Greece. So, my first complaint is that usually on holiday, I feel like things just start off on the wrong foot immediately because you always have to be at the airport at some ridiculous time. I swear I have never taken a flight that leaves at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's always 6:20 a.m. or 11:30 at night. Waking a toddler at 3 a.m. to go to the airport is just a massive heart sink moment because you always hope they'll go back to sleep, but they don't. So, now it's 6 a.m. and time for your flight, and they are already completely losing it. And then they have a nap at 3 p.m. and are awake till midnight while you feel like you just want to close your eyes and die. So you start off exhausted. Then they don't sleep well because they're in a new environment and it's all very exciting. I would love to hear from anyone whose child has ever actually slept in a travel cot. I'm pretty sure no child ever has. James certainly wouldn't. Alba doesn't. Comment, please, if you know some sort of trick to this. I would love to hear it. At the moment, now that we have two, Jack is sleeping in one bed with James, and I sleep in another room with Alba. She has learned to roll both ways now, and she can also pivot on her belly, and she spends all night roaming around the bed. So I just don't sleep at all because I'm so stressed about where she's going to end up. I also don't have a pillow because I've used all four of ours to create a barrier around her. But she will somehow wake up the second I try to put her into the travel cot. So yeah, that's just not working. So it isn't a rest. In fact, for me at least, it's much worse sleep than average, which was already at an extremely low baseline. And then you've got the extra things that, if you're from the UK at least, you usually don't have to worry about or deal with. So we have endless arguments with James at the moment about putting on sunscreen, wearing his hat, drinking water. And it's another like mental load to add as well. If you know anyone who knows me in real life knows I'm always to be found with this big giant backpack, and Jack loves to slag it off. But any mum will know that if you're leaving the house, you need to have tons of crap with you, even if you're just going 5 minutes to the shops. And then on holiday, I end up still taking this huge bag, except it's also got the sunscreen and the swimsuits and toys and extra water and 18 stones we found at the beach that are super important for some reason. So, yeah, you've got these extra mind weights, I'm going to call it. So you have no reasons to have fights with your kids, but of course, all the usual arguments still exist. I've been posting some of the lovely things we've been doing on TikTok and Instagram. Make of that what you will. Trying to be TikTok famous. But I'm going to do a post, I think, showing some of the real side because, of course, this is the highlight reel. I'm not taking photos of me and James having a 20-minute wrestling match to get dressed every morning or all the endless hours of really boring play we're still doing in the house. He likes to pretend he's a cat at the moment, and I have to crawl around beside him for hours meowing, and it's such a boring game, I cannot tell you. But yeah, and I think the thing that gets me, like I said at the beginning, is I always forget before a holiday that it isn't a pre-kids holiday. I have this sort of image in my head. I think I'll be by a pool with a drink and reading my book and going for a swim. or that, be able to go explore some local town for a day. And of course, that just doesn't happen. And for the most part, I have accepted it and I'm fine with it during the day. I said in an earlier podcast that I thought I would be able to do all the same things before I had kids, just take them with me. And like I said in that episode, one, you can't, because you're just not going to have a good time at a wine tasting if they're pulling their hair out in boredom. And two, your priorities do change. I do actually want to do the things that I know will make my kids happy. Well, make James happy, Abba's happy, just still being carried about looking at things. But at the end of the day, and I get this at home, but I get it especially on holiday, it gets to about 5 p.m. and I think, oh my God, I just really don't want to be a parent anymore. I just want to have a glass of wine and read my book, and maybe this sounds awful, but just not be a parent for a couple of hours. Yeah, I definitely get that feeling at home too, but I think I get over it because it's real life, if that makes sense. But somehow on a holiday, I don't know, it feels like it shouldn't be real life. Or maybe it's because you've paid like £2,000 to go meow on a different floor somewhere. Okay, my last complaint, and this one doesn't really make sense because I know James is at 3.5. He just isn't old enough to understand any of this. But it drives me nuts when we say to James, come on, let's go to the beach, or let's go to this amazing place. And he's whining and complaining because he'd rather just stay and play with his trains or whatever we've brought with us. And for me, it feels like ingratitude. And I get that he doesn't understand that we've paid a lot of money to go on holiday, or that this is me and Jack's time off work, etc. But at the same time, I'm like really annoyed by it. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but I bet some of you will understand. Okay, so just so it isn't such a downer, then some good bits. I just let rules go out the window. And maybe that's part of the problem now I think about it. But if he wants 3 ice holidays in a day when we're on holiday, then I just let him. It's his holiday too. So another great thing I found in pretty much every country other than the UK is that they're just so much more relaxed about kids. It's only being abroad as a parent, I realise how uptight the British are about children in public spaces. You kind of get made to feel that you shouldn't have brought them, or that you're going to get sort of frowned upon if they behave like children. And so many other places just seem to accept children as part of life, even when they're noisy and making a mess, which, is exactly how it should be. Kids are kids, and we were all kids at one point. So, yeah. And it's funny, actually, because in South Africa, people really love babies. It happened a lot when we visited with James as a baby, and it's happening again now with Alba. But like complete strangers will just sort of pluck her out of my arms and just have a cuddle and coo over her and then give her back. And it was a bit unnerving when it happened at first. I was like, oh my God, someone's like stealing my baby. But yeah, I'm getting a bit more used to it now. And yeah, don't worry, I'm always ready to ditch my enormous backpack and chase someone down the street if they run off with them. But no one has so far. Oh, and of course, as usual, I have no advice. But there was a golden 6 months when we had just James. I think it was probably when he was 18 months to 2 years old. And he was just having one long nap in the middle of the day. It wasn't that long when we were at home, but I think being by the pool and being in a hot country, he would have a good long nap when we were on holiday. And we found a hotel that had a swim-up pool, and it had a really sturdy gate on it, so James couldn't fall in. But it meant that when James had his nap, Jack would race to the nearest bar, grab us 2 cocktails each, and we could sit in the sun or swim while James napped inside, all while we were in the room. So it wasn't like we had to take it in turns to sit in a dark hotel room while he had his nap. And honestly, I cannot tell you how amazing that was. We did that exact same holiday twice because of that. So something to think about. Anyway, I'm sorry for moaning, particularly if you are in miserable, cold UK right now. Don't hate me. But yeah, most important message is if you're ever feeling down, looking at someone you know's Insta stories about their amazing family holiday, then just remember that huge chunks of it are still arguing about putting shoes on and spending time being a cat. So yeah, thanks for listening. Go and follow 10,000 Steps with Baby on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever you use to listen to podcasts. And I will see you next week.